Hi, and welcome back to Dianne Yoga. Today we're going to talk about a form of yoga called Restorative Yoga. And it takes gravity into consideration to form the poses and the positions that we come to with props. Lots of props. We have blocks. You can use throw pillows from around the house. And you can get bolsters or even some throw pillows that might resemble a size, large bolster, wonderful thing, a smaller bolster. You can Google bolsters. They're great to have around the house. And what restorative yoga does is pretty much let your body surrender to gravity and a passive type of yoga of opening and relaxing the tissues, which is a whole different thing than power yoga, which strengthens and stretches. This is primarily a releasing practice, a wonderful way to open the body to freedom without using all that power, which is a great balance often. So we'll begin finding your appropriate size prop. I'm a little taller, so I've got the bigger bolster. And you can, even if you are taller and bigger or have a little less flexibility, you can use two bolsters or even put a bolster on top of your pillows. And I'm going to start with the bigger bolster in what's called supported child's pose. And you all know child's pose likely if you're here watching. And it is simply a nice wide knee pose. Bringing the weight onto the heels and bringing that bolster close enough where you can actually kind of lay over and surrender to the top of the bolster. Now, if this is kind of tight for your low back, we can always, don't forget, use blocks underneath. Maybe your head doesn't quite reach and you might need a block here. But ideally, we take the pose to a support by resting the chest and belly, taking your head, turning it to the right, making sure your arms aren't gripping. Reach those arms out and allow gravity to surrender your hips down over your heels. So remember, in any pose, any yoga practice, it's all about the breath. So here, more importantly than ever, and maybe a little more clearer to see and hear and feel, is the stillness in restorative yoga. So coming down once again, relaxing the arms, relaxing the head. See if you can actually take the entire ear on the side of the bolster, not so much the cheek. Let's get a little neck stretch while we're here. As I always say, doing yoga between the yoga. And just settle down for a wonderful sense of freedom and the release of surrender. Inhale. And as you exhale, as we do in yoga, notice the surrendering of the hips to the heels. The belly gets heavy and soft. The arms relax down. Stay here for a good 3, minimum to 5, to maybe 10 or 20 breaths. And then as we come up, I bring the hands a little closer to the bolster and lengthen out the spine. Inhale here. And then relax and surrender the neck to the other side of the bolster, making sure you maybe get the whole ear on the bolster and surrendering it down. And staying here as well for an equal amount of breaths that you went on the other side. And that is supported child's. A wonderful way to start the day, a wonderful way to end the day, a wonderful just place to regroup and connect with your breath. The next position we'll talk about is the side lying over the bolster. It opens the side ribs and stretches out the hips and the quads and the buttocks. And we're going to lay a bolster on its length. Maybe you have the other size. Maybe you need a little more height and you put pillows under it. Find that where it's right close, snug, up to your hips. And your legs are kind of facing the same direction. Bringing your whole torso down, staying nice and stacked. Even stacking your knees, shifting your hips so you're supported well here. And if this arm feels kind of wonky hanging out there, we can just take a block and lay it on that block. So this hand can lay by your side. You can place it here gently, just so that it's relaxed. You're not leaning forward, you're not falling backwards, you're nice and equal here. And just again, surrender to the breath. Allow this wonderful side position for your spine to just settle in. As we breathe, And one thing I like to talk about with breathing is as we exhale, of course we soften, and then you wait and let that in-breath come to you. Don't be forcing your in-breath. Don't even think about it. Just watch the out-breath and wait a few seconds. The in-breath is sure to come. So once we do the side lie, 3 to 5 to 10 breaths, we're going to add a little tiny power to it. Not much, but a little bit. We're going to reach the arm up, extending both fingers and both hands, and then extend up and over. Reach out the side body, really arc. Feel that hand reaching beyond the other hand. Inhale. Exhale. Bring it back up with purpose and energy. Keeping your head relaxed and not pressing your head into your arm. And reach up. Inhale. Stretching. Feel the hips stay rooted down towards the floor. Back up. And inhale. And when you do your last one, whether it's 5 or 7 or 10 breaths from now, take that bottom leg out and stretch it out nice and long. Point the toes and then flex the toes. And just reach out the whole side body. Inhaling, reach. And then exhale, bring that hand back up. Bring that knee back in and take another breath here. And carefully turning your torso towards the bolster. In between the sides, we're going to do a supported spinal twist. So taking your hands and shuffling your knees up a little bit, we're going to face the bolster. Maybe now you might find you need to add that household pillow because of less flexibility. We're going to keep our torso facing the bolster, walk the hands down, trying to keep the shoulders and the chest and the sternum in contact. You'll feel the low back start to talk. Scissor the legs, open them up a little bit. Coming down with supported arms and resting the side head once again. You can feel where your knees feel best for your back. Maybe it's moving them away. And just relaxing, working that right shoulder down if you're laying on your left side. And you'll notice a sensation in your low back. And your job here is to watch it and breathe and monitor. That exhale, letting that low back just melt down and the shoulders melt down towards the floor. So stay here for, again, 3 to 5 or 7 to 10 breaths. And when you're seated, your supported spinal twist is done. I'm going to bring the hands back towards the torso, firing up the arms, to turn to the bolster carefully and lift up. At this point, we'll switch sides. You can then maybe experiment. Maybe you like to use those side pillows, throw pillows, and make it a longer, taller side stretch. And using the block and relaxing down. Or maybe that doesn't quite work. You'll know your level of comfort. If you show up in the mat enough, you really get to know your body and what it needs. And that's what we want to do. We want to whisper. We want to hear our body whisper before we hear it scream. So once again, relaxing here. Noticing in your lower body, your hips, your buttocks, if you're gripping and holding on to anything, and just relax on the exhale. Think of the word surrender, surrendering to gravity. And then after your appropriate amount of breaths, make them equal on each side. If you can remember, we inhale and reach that arm up, extend these fingers, and reach up and over, and bring it on back up. Inhale, reach as far as it'll go, a little beyond the bottom hand, and back up again. Nice energy, line of action. Keep that arm nice and stick straight, full of life. And after however many breaths, we're going to extend that bottom leg and reach, maybe lifting the inner arch, reaching up and over, maybe gazing up a little bit. Don't fall backwards. And back up to center, and let it go. Take a breath here. And with nice strong arms, we're going to push ourselves up to our supported spinal twist. Taking your legs and scissoring them to turn your torso towards the bolster. So Find that position for you, keeping it close to your abdomen, where you can take both shoulders facing down towards the bolster, sliding the hands out. Maybe you need those pillows. Maybe this side is different and you need some more support. And relaxing down. Exhaling the left shoulder down if we're laying on the right. Notice your low back, what it's saying to you. And breathe there. This practice is supposed to be done very slowly. Sometimes just 3 poses will take 30 minutes. Take your time. Allow yourself, give yourself the gift of the time to free your body up in this fashion. Bringing your hands into the mat, coming back up to seated. And moving the bolster out. Come to seated for a moment. Noticing if your knees are up and your low back is rounded, well then you may need to sit on your block or one of the pillows or one of the various props to allow the knees to be just about the same level as the hips, and just relax for a moment. Letting the hips settle down. I'm just going to do a little side stretch here by pressing the left hand to the mat, reaching up or the rug or wherever you are, and the other side. I'm going to reach up side body here, lengthening, dropping that hip down. Other side, one more, inhale, come back to center, exhale, and bring it on back down. And while we're sitting here, in terms of an all-body experience to open yourself to, we're going to do a little work with the neck, carefully and gently. Always careful and gentle with the neck. So let's take our shoulders up around the ears, relax them back, keeping your arms relaxed, palms down, palms up. But relaxing the upper body, noticing the weight is coming back just a little bit to keep the front of the torso tall. And we're simply going to take our arms out to the side, fingertips extending, and then palms down. Taking a look over your left shoulder. Extending up from the heart center, flip the opposite hand over and curl those pinkies up to the ceiling. And then tuck the chin just a little bit here. Feel that stretch. Come back to center, both palms down. And taking a gaze over the right hand, flip that hand over so the pinkies come up to the sky, and take a peek down at your chin, at your shoulder. Come back up to center. Let's switch sides. Take a gaze left, extend and flip the right. Come back to center, extend, turn to the right, flip the left. Last one, flipping over as you turn. Come back to center, flipping over as you turn. Let's inhale those arms up, interlace the fingers and stretch the palms to the sky, opening up the shoulders down the back. Really lift up out of the front body, relax the shoulders down, spread those fingers to the sky. And exhale down to a nice A-frame with your hands. Just a little energy in the hands, just touching the rug or the mat. And then take your left ear to your left shoulder, relaxing the shoulders down. Let that stretch drop. Barely touching the mat with the right fingers. Take your hand over and give that a little bit of a help. Maybe you're holding it from going too far, maybe you're giving it a little bit of a stretch, but above all, breathe here. Exhale, just extend a little bit, supporting the head and feeling those fibers in your neck and all the back of the neck come alive. Bring that hand back down and take one quick peek down at that shoulder, tucking the chin. Back up to center. Let's inhale the shoulders up and around just to release them. Put them back into their shoulder girdle. Dropping the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. Extending the fingers and touching. And taking that top hand and just laying it gently aside the head. Using it as a little help, a little aid. Feeling that stretch, but breathe above all here. Always, always it's in the breath. Bringing the other hand back down. Take a quick peek at that chin to the shoulder. Coming back up to center. Let's inhale the shoulders up around the ears. And squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bring them back behind you. Bring the palms forward. Tuck the chin just a little bit. Not just the chin, but the throat. So you're going to bring the throat back. Bring the shoulders back. And then one more interlace around the fingers. Up we go. and relax them down. And for the last part, the front opening, the hip opening, greatest restorative pose that I love. I'm going to take our props, our wonderful, wonderful props. Sometimes you might need one block, maybe you need two. I'm going to use two to put my bolster at an angle. Nice and supported there. Maybe you'll find you want one. Keeping a small pillow nearby, perhaps. Two more bolsters, another block. We're going to spread this back a little bit more so we can see what's happening here. And carefully coming on to the back of this bolster. Making sure it's right close up to your fanny there. We're going to lay back on the bolster carefully. Now you might find, because of your neck, that you find you hyperextended. It's like, where is that? Where is the bolster? If that is the case, find your household pillow and bring that neck to neutral. A nice long neutral spine. This is a great way, just like this in and of itself, having the legs be crossed, the palms open, and relaxing over that bolster. Adding to it for further hip opening, we can always take our feet into Baddha Konasana. So those feet and the soles of the feet are together. Get these blocks nearby. You'll see how we'll use them in a minute. Staying nice and tall. Relaxing the legs down, noticing the block is there for support. Then slowly lowering yourself over that bolster. Be careful that it's supported well back there. Let the legs lay open. Let the block support them. Let your hands rest with or without a pillow. You can even rest your hand on a pillow. But the key here is to do what? Breathe. Even closing your eyes. This you can call your Shavasana. Relaxing the shoulders back, palms open. Let the belly just be soft. Not worrying about holding it in. Relax your fingers. Close your eyes. And begin to just watch the breath. Watch the in-breath and notice its cool sensations in the nose. And when you exhale, notice the warm air and the relaxation response that occurs in the body. Slowing down the volume of the breath here. Not making it so big and so purposeful. Just relaxing into your natural breath. And when you're done here, set a timer. Being in this position for 10 minutes is awesome. You might find at one point you remove the blocks and feel a little bit more release. Maybe your hands want to rest on the inner thighs. As you exhale, some freedom into the gravity, surrendering to the mat. And when you feel as if you're done, or you know the dryer just went off, bring those knees together, flatten the feet. We're going to roll off the bolster carefully. And then just for a moment, set it aside. There's one more thing I want to show you that equalizes the hips and the sacrum releases. We're going to windshield wiper the legs by laying flat and opening up the feet and knees equally wide. Relaxing your hands, making sure your back is flat. Inhale. When you exhale, take the left knee and let it drop into a level where there's just enough resistance. You're not forcing it down and lifting the hip up off the mat. You're just letting it relax. So this opposite leg does not roll as along with it. It kind of stays as a support. And then inhale here. And then exhale that right knee in just to feel the edge of a stretch. Inhale up. Exhale, drop that one in. Sometimes it's nice to throw your hands over your head while you're doing this. Back up, just making sure you're not reaching that knee down so far that the whole body comes off and you create tension in it. You want to stay in that rest and digest relaxation mode. 2 more. Exhale down. Think of the opposite leg as being a gatekeeper. And make sure your knees and feet are equally distant apart. And then back up to center. Toe heel the feet in. Let's take the right knee in, give it a hug, and flex the foot. Perhaps straightening out that lower leg. And switching sides. Take that left leg back around the ribs, wind removing pose, hanging onto that shin. Don't grip the knee. Straightening the opposite leg. And the exhale, drawing it in. And then coming to, perhaps, if you wish, another kind of Shavasana. We can spend one here with our feet flat and TP our knees together and relax here. Hands on the belly, hands by the sides. And take 3 breaths. And at the end of the 3rd breath, as we move on with our day or back into our day or into slumber, this is a great before bed practice, very relaxing. We're going to roll onto one side and carefully push us up with your arms up to seated. And just take, before you jump up or get up or go where you're going, a moment to honor your practice by bringing your hands to heart center, to honor your time, your dedication to your health and your freedom. The highest in me honors the highest in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for the wonderful practice of restorative yoga.